As the early morning mist begins to burn off, 13 pilots from Lindsay and around Ontario get ready for yet another wonderful day of flying out of the Kawartha Lakes Municipal Airport. The COPA for Kids aviation program brings together seasoned pilots with young people 7 to 17. For many, it will be their first time around or in a plane. A flying adventure for these youngsters offered by the Kawartha Lakes Flying Club free of charge.
Hello, my name is Flavelle Barrett, President of the Kawartha Lakes Flying Club, Lindsay. On behalf of our members and volunteers, we are pleased today to have a special event offering children from the community a free flight over the Kawarthas. The main purpose of this program is to show kids what aviation is all about and give them an experience of being in a cockpit of an aircraft in flight. The day will include a 20-minute ground school taught by experienced COPA pilots who will explain the various parts of the aircraft and how they work, flight safety, and a walk around using a static plane to show how a pilot carefully prepares for a flight. Following the ground school, the kids will experience all facets of flight from startup to taxiing, takeoff, cruising 1,000 feet above the ground, landing, and shutdown. Our Kawartha Lakes Flying Club members and COPA believe this experience will give the kids a new perspective on the joy of flying. By introducing kids to flying at an early age, we hope to leave them with a memorable impression that will germinate a long-term interest in the pursuit of flying. Our COPA pilots generously give of their time, their plane, and fuel costs while sharing in the enjoyment of the day with their young passengers.
Children received a 15-minute basic ground school focusing on safety issues and basic aviation concepts before going up in the air. For many young people, and hopefully would-be pilots, It will be the first time they have ever had an opportunity to see a small plane up close. Hopefully, to some degree, demystifying the art and science of aviation, on the ground and later in the air. The next step is preparing for your flight. In small groups of 1, 2, or 3, each youngster will walk out to a lineup of colorful flying machines. This is when the real adventure begins. Some planes will have 2 seats and some 4. Your ground host and pilot will guide you step by step. It may seem like a lot of preparation and may be a little confusing at first, but your pilot will answer all your questions. Why a headset and a microphone? Why a seatbelt? And shoulder harness? And what are all those buttons, dials, and switches? And a steering wheel, a bit like a car. And foot pedals, like a bike. So many questions. And the pilots and volunteers from the Kawartha Lakes Flying Club will answer all of them. Our club members offered each youngster a closer look at the propeller, the shape of the plane, the wings, the tail. And how the plane reacts to different actions by the pilot.
The COPA for Kids program that is being carried out here today is an offshoot of what used to be Young Eagles. For many years, COPA flew young children, give them the experience of flying, introduce them to flying, introduce the parents to flying under the American Young Eagles program, which was part of the Experimental Aircraft Association, or EAA. In recent years, we found that the requirements for insurance for this program were not suitable for us. There is a difference between Canada and the United States, as you might expect. So we set up our own program, and it's called COPA for Kids. And so this is what is going on at Lindsay today. The whole idea is to introduce young children between the ages of 7 and 17 to the thrill of flight and the experience of flight, hoping that they will go on, become pilots, get involved in aviation in many other ways. It could be aircraft maintenance, it could be air traffic control, and it could be flying. The recent articles in the newspaper show there's going to be a very large demand for airline pilots in the next few years. As the airlines start to retire older people, there are mandatory rules for that. And so we're hoping that we can involve children in aviation in those aspects. And it's also the children, as they go on through their education process and into business, are supporters of aviation as an economic factor in the Canadian economy.
And here are a few statistics. 101 kids registered, 11 planes were involved, including 2 from Peterborough, 2 from Oshawa, 1 from Baldwin, and the balance from Lindsay. Pilots, plus 27 additional volunteers. The 20-minute flight involved taking off on the east or west runway, then turning north to follow the Lindsay River out into Sturgeon Lake. The children and their pilot then flew up the west side of Sturgeon Lake, and then followed the Fenland Falls River before flying over the falls and lock in Fenland Falls. The next leg of the adventure took them along the south shore of Cameron Lake before heading south over farmland, over the town of Cambrai, and then back to the Lindsay Airport.
Lindsay's proud history in aviation goes back many years to when a young woman born in Lindsay wanted to get into the Royal Canadian Air Force in 1939. She was refused, but didn't stop there. She tried again in 1941 when the Women's Division was founded. She worked in the photographic area just to get to fly, and she was one of the first recruits in the new division. But it wasn't until after the war that she actually learned how to fly, and in 1959, this proud Lindsay resident became the first woman to be a corporate pilot in Canada with the title Chief Pilot for Canadian Utilities Company, and is a member of the Canadian Aviation Hall of Fame. Her name, Molly Riley. Born in Lindsay, February 25th, 1922.